Hello and welcome back to my channel, Complicated Relationships Reddit Stories. Hope you guys are safe and healthy. Now let's see what the story is about today. Suddenly, my marriage was questionable after a Zoom game night with my wife and another couple. I want advice on my wife's idea how to fix our marriage after her betrayal. Now, let's see how this story goes. Also, if you like what I do, please give this video a thumbs up and do subscribe to the channel.
I recently learned that my wife cheated on me about a year and a half ago. My wife and I have been together for nearly 4 years, married for 2. January 7 will be the 4-year anniversary of our first date. On December 26, we were doing a Zoom game night with 3 other married couples. We were playing Never Have I Ever. If you don't know the game, it's a drinking game. One person says something they have never done, and anyone who has done it takes a drink. It's a fun game that can lead to some funny stories. One of the women, let's call her Amy, said what she had never done. I'm pretty sure this was meant as a joke. I haven't talked to Amy since this happened, but I don't think there was any intention or maliciousness or anything like that. Amy said, "Never have I ever cheated on my spouse." Remember, there were 4 married couples playing. If you guessed that my wife took a drink, then you are correct.
Everyone laughed and shrugged it off as a joke, even OP.
Several people made jokes about it, and I even said something like, "I guess we're getting divorced in 2021. The game night continued as if the incident was forgotten, and it didn't get brought up again. Literally everyone seemed to think it was a joke and didn't give it a second thought. But I noticed a slight change in my wife's manner. After the game night, I questioned her and she tried to dismiss it, but I kept asking. She seemed visibly shaken. Eventually, she admitted that she cheated on me a few times during the summer of 2019. She said it was with only one guy and she's not in touch with him in any form now, and she feels really bad about it. The guy was an employee at her company but worked on the West Coast. We live on the East Coast, and he was in town for a couple weeks for some project. While she was working late, she went back to his hotel room a couple of times. When the project was over, he went back. Apparently, he is married with children back there. My wife is no longer at the company. She lost her job due to the COVID situation, but I earn plenty of money, so there was no issue.
The wife was doing some freelance work online, but she has pretty much been a full-time housewife over the past year.
It is difficult to completely describe her emotional state over the past week, but she seems to be quite a wreck. I've been sleeping in the guest bedroom since, and she is constantly apologizing and begging me to come back to the main bedroom. She tells me about all the ways she has tried to be a better wife over the past year because she realizes what a mistake she made. I will admit we don't have disagreements or anything anymore. I guess I didn't notice it, but she doesn't get angry at me about anything anymore. Like I said, she has been a great housewife, cooking and cleaning and everything. She lets me relax after work, and she has been initiating frequently, often just performing oral if I feel too tired. I definitely feel like we've been having more physical relations now, and she doesn't seem to have been a more caring and attentive partner. While I feel numb most of the day, I get these waves of anger and hatred like I've never felt.
Now, here is OP's question in hand.
She has been begging me every day to give our marriage a second chance. I don't know if it's relevant, but we don't have any kids. The house belongs to my parents, actually. My father made a fortune in real estate. A lot of my financial assets are already pretty well protected due to some help from my father's accountant, so I'm not too worried about getting a divorce, but I have already reached out to my lawyer. My wife keeps coming to me with different ideas on how to fix the marriage. A couple of hours ago, she suggested opening the relationship on my end, but keeping it closed on hers, and that this could continue for as long as I need it. I've been sitting here having a drink or two, and it sounds like it's worth a shot. What's the worst that could happen? I'm tempted to get her to agree to it on video. She has even said she will help me find women. I'm definitely considering her offer, although she wants me to do marriage counseling at the same time. I just don't know what to do. Has this worked for anyone? It sounds tempting, but also, that is too good to be true. I'm sorry, but it has been some time and there isn't an update yet. I'll make sure to update you if I see one in the near future with a link to this video.
Well, OP, she kept her secret for more than a year and only confessed when you pressed her. She was going to take that secret to her grave. Let me ask you, does that sound like a person who loves you? She saw that guy for a little bit, and the first chance she got, she was spreading it for him. Does that sound like someone that loves you? She sees her lifestyle and security walking out. To a certain degree, men can be bought with some physical attraction. She can no longer do that because she has lost that leverage. She knows you feel a bit repulsed by her. How can she still offer physical intimacy and keep you satisfied so you don't walk out? She doesn't really give an sh. She just wants to keep her lifestyle. You should probably separate from her and go no contact for 6 months. See how that goes, and at the same time, you can see other women, pretty much the same idea. In that time, you can clear your head away from her. Now, before we go to story number 2, let's listen to a couple of comments by the community.
Fragrant Spray says, "Your wife cheated on you multiple times less than a year into the marriage? I suspect you're getting the trickle truth. She's been trying to make it up to you, not because she wants to be a good wife, but out of guilt, which doesn't seem sustainable for that long. She's offering a half-open marriage, but I'm not sure how that fixes anything." Acceptable Nightmare says, "She's proposing a hall pass. You get to step out, so now it's even. Except it's not. There are no betrayal and lies. She chose to cheat on you with another person and lied to you about it during the first year of your marriage. If I were you, I'd kick her broke bottom out."
The second story is titled, "I think my fiance might be seeing someone else."
Me and my fiancée, Sandra, have been together for 5 years, engaged for 8 months. Things were going great up until a couple of months ago. My suspicion of Sandra started back in June. I noticed she has become more distant and cold towards me. We talked about it, and she says her job is stressing her out. Fair enough. The suspicions began to arise again a month later. I started to notice she would go to work really early and come home late. She tried to brush it off by saying she's working harder towards a promotion, but for some reason, I don't believe her.
A couple of days ago, I obtained her phone records, and it shows that she has texted a certain number hundreds of times during July.
I talked to my older brother about this. Pretty much the same thing happened to him with his wife 3 years ago, leaving for work early and coming home late. A ridiculous amount of text messages to one number. Turns out his wife was cheating on him, and they got a divorce. By the end of the conversation, I was in tears. I didn't want to believe it, but there is a good chance Sandra is cheating on me. I don't know what to do at this point. I have no concrete proof that Sandra is cheating on me, only suspicion. How should I approach this?
Now, here is the update.
Most of you guys wanted me to call the number that Sandra was constantly texting, and I honestly was about to. She came home an hour after I had posted the original post. I was lying in bed by then, and I guess she thought I was sleeping. She took out her phone and unlocked it. I saw her password. Eventually, she fell asleep, and I unlocked her phone and searched the number on her phone. The number belonged to some guy named Jeff, and the text messages were extremely out of line. Some examples. From Jeff, "I loved the way you bounce when we..." From Sandra, "I love it." Those are just 2 examples of the texts between them, but there was a lot more. I screenshot a ton of them and sent them to myself.
At this point, OP was done with her.
I confirmed that she was cheating on me, so I decided to snoop some more and looked through her photos. There were a couple of photos of her kissing and cuddling with some guy, who I assume is the same guy she's been seeing behind my back. Of course, I also sent those photos to myself. But what threw me over the edge was a video of her having physical relations with another guy. I assume one of her friends were recording this. I almost lost it and woke her up to confront her, but I calmed down. Of course, I also sent the video to myself. At this point, I went for a walk for nearly 2 hours. Mind you, this is still the middle of the night, and the area I walked through isn't the safest of areas. Still, I didn't care. I was so angry. Eventually, I calmed down enough and went back to our place. I slept for maybe 3 hours and woke up. I printed off some of the texts and photos and waited for her to get up.
She finally got up about 6 a.m. When she finished eating breakfast, OP slammed the text messages on the table.
She looked at me with horror. She started crying and shaking. I took the engagement ring from our dresser and walked out. I came back a couple of hours later, and she wasn't there. I called my landlord and told him we wouldn't be renewing our lease. I told her I was moving out and to never contact me again. I packed all my stuff and moved in with a friend. So, yeah, that's it. She was cheating on me, and I'm done with her. She's been calling me, begging for a second chance, but she's not getting one. Thanks for listening.
End of the story. Hey man, I'm happy and sad for you all at the same time. You did well keeping your cool. If it was me, I don't think I would have been like that. You are taking the correct steps in the direction you need to follow, and you don't need any advice on how to proceed. I'm glad that you did not marry Jenny. Good luck with your next chapter in life. Well, before we go, let's listen to a few comments by the community.
Ed LV says, silver lining of this is that you figured this out now and not after you're married with kids with her. Now, you can just try to focus on getting over her and moving on. You never have to have any contact with her again. Good luck. OP's reply, yeah, going through a divorce is bad enough. With kids? Jesus, that's a nightmare. I watched my older bro go through one, and it broke him. He eventually recovered, but it took a while. Engineered Alert says, I think the part that angered me the most was that a friend recorded the video. We already knew his girlfriend was cheating, but that's not how her friends knew and didn't have the guts to tell him either. OP's reply, I think the majority of people don't cheat for no reason. Not saying that it is okay, it never is, but people rarely mess up a good relationship for no reason by doing it. Anon2929 says, save that evidence if you feel you need to, but put it in a folder somewhere you don't have to look at it all the time. You don't need to carry that weight in your pocket every day. Sorry this happened to you. Some will point out how this is a good thing in the end. They're right, of course, but that won't help you in this moment. Take care of yourself. OP's reply, yeah, I have the evidence saved somewhere, just in case she tries to lie about why we broke up.
Thank you all for listening. Please like, comment and share the video if you enjoyed it. Also, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you will be notified when we upload the next video. Take care.